96% of all businesses will fail in 10 years. So who owns their own business in here? Everybody in the room, just about everybody. Okay. 96% of businesses will fail in 10 years. Now, one of the, when I heard that, I was like, wait, there's got to be a bigger story here, right? So let me go back and start looking and researching this. And what I found was, if you think about a cyclical market that we have that trickles down from Wall Street to the rest of America, we have a correction on average every 7 years. Now, we've been longer than that right now, so we're in some really good economic times. And there's a lot of things that are fundamentally different than they were 4 years ago. Maybe the economy was improving 3, 4, 5 years ago, but now there's different levels of the economy that are improving. But what happens to a business is that when you shoehorn yourself into a particular task, so if you're a custom home builder and all you do are custom homes, you're not taking advantage of the spec market. The spec market right now is very good. At least it is in most parts of the country. Of course, there's always a part of the country that houses aren't selling. I wouldn't recommend, personally, building right now in Detroit. That's just where I would. But Charlotte, Raleigh-Durham, southeastern Virginia, most of Florida right now, and forget the hurricane damage. Just the building for people that want to move into a larger home, or they're moving to, for different school zones, or they're looking for better work. So what I found was, if individually your company is concentrating on one task, if you're just in the plumbing business, not a bad business to be in. If you're in the HVAC business, not a bad business to be in. And the reason being is because the trade industries, you have the best of both worlds. You have the new installs. You really have three worlds. You have the retail new installs. You have new construction, HVAC or plumbing for a builder. But you also have the service department. So all these houses that we're building out here now, they're aging. First day you move in it, you get out of the warranty period, things start to fail. People don't change air filters. How many people know you're supposed to drain a water heater every year? I mean, most people don't know that. But if you read the instructions, you're supposed to drain it. So I always tell my clients, you can call us or call a plumber to try to generate that sales call even after the warranty's up. Somebody moves into their house, I want additional work. So I'm looking for different individual trades. Part of what we're talking about today is diversifying. How you diversify your company is, if you're a custom home builder, maybe you look at adding a service department that does more than warranty work. Maybe you're looking at doing home repairs or home improvements, because there's really two different worlds there. Home repairs would be, rehang the gutters, put the shutters back up, fix some grading issues, water in a crawl space or a basement. Home improvements, room additions, bathrooms, kitchens, talking about the remodels. Now, I know a lot of custom home builders that won't even consider a room addition. They won't consider a custom bathroom or a kitchen. And you hear everything across, every excuse in the world. One is, I don't want to deal with if they're living in a house and they have dogs, they have kids running around, and somebody left the gate open, the plumber left the gate open, and the dog got out, and they have a flat tire and they blamed it on the framer. There's that, and those are a lot of builders. That's an excuse, because what you're doing as a custom home builder, your job is to build some of the nicest houses in the area, right? You want to be better than the guy next to you. Which, by the way, nowhere in here you'll see the word competition. I don't believe in using the word competition, because we're all great people in this room. I mean, your neighbors, everybody. But never consider everybody around you your competition. Always think of yourself as being better than the rest. Put yourself on a higher plane. Because when we start thinking we have competition, we're in competition with this guy and this guy, we start to say we're equal. All right, well, what makes each and every one of you different, and what makes you better, and what makes you believe that you're better? And so diversification ties everything into your belief that you can do more for yourself and your company, because you're going to hedge against the downturn in the economy. We're going to have a correction one day in the economy. If all you're building is custom homes and you're not doing any of the service or home improvements or the custom bathrooms, you might find that your work slows down. I found in 2008, 2009, the builders that were building 10 houses and under really took a hit. I mean, a really bad hit. There was a lot of builders that went out of business. Some of your big companies went out of business as well because they weren't leveraged, and they didn't have enough cash. They just weren't leveraged properly. And then when the banks started choking things back, guess what? But can you imagine if you're a custom home builder with a service department that does repairs, that does home improvements, you're constant, you have that cash flow coming in. You're not living from draw to draw, but you're daily, every week, you have checks coming in from repairs, from clients. The magic about diversification is putting yourself out there in more than one spot at one time doing one thing. I have never, I was in the HVAC business prior to building, and I was going to tell you my backstory is, in 1990, I got a job working for a heating and air company. This is going to be a great opportunity. I'm going to become a service tech. Luckily, I avoided the install department because I didn't want to crawl underneath houses. So I got a job as a service technician. In 1999, the owner and I started having disagreements, new owner of the company. I was still trying to do things the old way. The new guy wanted to do things his way. And eventually, May of 2000, I went and started my own company. 7 years later, I sold that company and became independently wealthy in 7 years of a service company, a company that did service work. We did new installs of HVAC, but mainly we serviced. And what made it so lucrative is that we were in a house every single day. We were in a new house, 5, 6, 10 houses a day, depending on how hot it was or how cold it was. And so that got me thinking, the service side of things, whether you're a builder, a plumber, whatever industry that you're in, you want to expand your reach. You want to actually get out into the marketplace, and you want to do more than one thing. Right now, custom home building is great. Spec houses is great. But when that downturn happens, you want to be prepared for the cash to continue to come in. And how are you going to do that? You're going to do that by doing repairs. For example, if your roof's leaking, I don't care how bad the economy is, you're either going to pay somebody to put a tarp on it, or you're going to fix the roof, right? You might not replace it, but you're going to fix it. Or what about if the in-laws, they have to move out of their house? They're worried about their investment, so they don't want to build them a new, smaller home somewhere on one level. Maybe they're going to move in with you, and you've got to build an addition. Somebody's going to build that addition. And 2008, of course, taught me a tremendous amount. But in May of 2007, I was riding high. I had this service business for years, and I've always wanted to become a home builder. I've always had that idea. At 10 years old, I'm watching cartoons. And of course, unfortunately, we didn't have clickers or remotes. I had to get up and turn all 3 channels that we had on a console TV. But I was watching cartoons, and I watched Bob Vila at 10 years old. So I had that interest. I can't tell you why I got into HVAC business, but I'm glad I did. But after I sold the company, I got into doing nothing but new construction, and that was in 2007. And so what started happening in 07 and 08, right? So I found it funny that I had a pocket full of cash, and I had builders that wanted to sell me their lots. But I didn't pay attention. Why? Why is this builder that has this lot or this subdivision, why does he want to sell me these lots in a hurry? And I think some builders knew that there was trouble on the horizon, the financial horizon, but some were just not being approved for construction loans, right? And so I'd been on this 7-year run, made tons of money in the service divisions. It was great. I got into building, and guess what? The economy tanked. We bought lots at price points that I knew exactly what it was going to take to make a nice profit on these houses. We gave up our profits, and in some cases lost tens of thousands of dollars just to sell a house and get it off the books. So now my ego's hurt, right? Man, I just had 7 years of great luck. I sold a company, life's great, beat my chest, everything. And now I have my clock clean, 2008, 2009. In early 2009, I discovered the magic of diversification. I went back to my roots. Let's add HVAC to the home building business. Let's add home improvements to the home building business. I don't want to go out and hang gutters and shutters, but guess what? That same client that gets you to do something that small, if they like you and you have a rapport and you build a client base and a loyal client, they're going to call you to build that bathroom, to rebuild the remodel their bathroom, to build the addition. They're going to call you to improve their property. And this is where we'll talk about sales in just a few minutes. Diversification solves a lot of your problems. It solves this, and here's the other thing too. Diversifying the right business, right? If we're building homes, let's not make donuts, right? If we're doing room additions, if you're a renovation contractor, let's not get into tanning salons, right? Because maybe that's your expertise. Tanning salons and hair salons, really, they kind of go together. Home building and tan salons don't. I know a home builder that started investing in things that he had no idea about. That is the worst type of diversification. The worst type is when you try to do too much. You haven't mastered what you're doing now, but you try to expand too much. So 2009, I discovered we're going to have to bring cash in, and we need to bring it in every day, every week, every month, and I needed to bridge the gap. I didn't know how long this housing downturn was going to last. Now, two things I was doing to myself. One is I was sort of insulting my own intelligence by thinking I was a victim of the economy, because I would go home every day and watch the news, and I would realize, guess what? The housing market's bad. Somebody else lost a job. A bank folded. How can I ever sell houses? How can I build houses? So now I started to panic. I started second guessing my decision to be in the home building business. And so I pushed more of the diversification side into services, and mainly into the HVAC. But I'm going to tell you right now that the heating and air conditioning business was very good to me. It's very good to a lot of people, and it is something that you may want to consider building into your home building company. Here's the joke about that. When we build a new house, we have a company that can install the HVAC cheaper than I can do it my own company with my guys, because we have the two different levels. We have the new install crews, we have the repair alteration crews. The same people I'm going to send into a $2 million house to do a HVAC install is not the same crew that's going to rough in a new construction house. There is a difference in the trades availability, in the tradesman availability. So as I started to feel like I was a victim of the news every day, and as I was struggling, I was really struggling with, why did I get into this? Why didn't I stay in the other business? I discovered, you know what? I'm in control. I'm going to make my own decisions. I'm not a victim of the economy or what bank closed. If the bank that I'm dealing with doesn't want to loan me money for a new construction house, I'll go find someone who, else that will. Private investors, cash out of the bank, I don't really care. In 2010, things started to turn around for us personally. And if you go back and look at the economy, I think in a lot of part of the country, 2010 was the bottom, even though 2012 still felt that way to us, and 11. But if you look at why should you diversify your business? We just talked about that. Let's not stay in one niche market. Like, let's expand. Let's do something else. Maybe you don't want to get into the trades industry. Maybe you want to get into landscaping. Maybe you want to do site clearing. That's an industry there that's kind of expensive because of the equipment that's needed to do it, right? But maybe you want to broaden your scope. Maybe you want to control the cost between acquisition of the land and the final product. You're trying to cut out as many people as possible. Commercial contracting was probably the second best thing that I've added to our business. Build America Construction is a single family home building company in 2008, and Trademark Construction, we had the two companies. And in 2017, Build America Construction is a residential, commercial, repair, alteration, and service company. We also have Build America Consulting and Build America Properties. So when we're talking about diversification, I'm talking about what we do every single day right now. We're not talking about a theory. I didn't read it and present it and say, here. I'm telling you what I'm doing. Because I feel like right now, with buying and selling houses, or doing home repairs, or doing commercial work, and not just private commercial work, but we do government work, right? So we're spreading ourselves not too thin, but we're putting ourselves out there, because I believe without a doubt that the work that it takes for us to be in so many places at one time will pay off when you have your next downturn in the economy. I'm not going to be sitting around like I was in 2008 and 9, a victim of something. I'll never call myself a victim of anything. I'm in control of me, I'm in control of right now, and I'm in control of my future. And that's how all of you should think. Because when you think that way, nothing around you can affect you. I mean, half of what goes on or more in life is mental anyway, right? 1929, when the economy crashed, it crashed because of word of mouth. We didn't even have social media, right? We didn't have his 24-hour news channels. But what you had was people panicking. There was a downturn in the economy, people started taking money out of the banks, and banks started collapsing. There was a ripple effect. I am not ever going to be in that position again, and I hope to God in my lifetime we never have anything like we had. I think what we're exposed to now is a downturn in the economy, meaning not a crash, just a correction. And a correction is actually good, by the way, because I'm going to tell you, out of every 100 home builders or home improvement contractors out in the industry right now, I think the percentage is 92% will contract. When the economy contracts, you'll contract with your advertising. You'll contract with your hiring. You'll start contracting your entire operation. Why? You're going the same way as everyone else. If everyone's running that way, if right now 100 people were running this way, I'd probably go that way. Because I'm not going where the crowd is. And the crowd's going to flow to the path of least resistance. So I know if everyone's going that way, I'm going this way. I am going to be in control of our personal economy, right? We make our economy. We make our own destiny. Diversification sets you up for all of this because it puts us in so many places at one time. Now, if you'll hear a lot of people will tell you, well, you're spreading yourself too thin. You can't do everything. How can you do service and how can you do commercial contracting and how can you build someone a custom home? And it's called management. And how you build a team, not employees, you build a team. You know, the culture, business culture, is something that you've heard a lot before, but culture building is something that's becoming more of a buzzword in my industry now in the consulting business. You know, we want to teach you how to build a culture. Well, when you build a culture of craftsmen and tradesmen in your business, and you basically have a rapport with your employees and your subcontractors, you're able to do everything that we do. You're able to do the commercial, the residential. You're able to spread yourself thin. And we are out there right now. We're everywhere. We're doing everything that I just mentioned. But what if we have a correction that's pretty big in the economy and single family houses drop off for a while? They're going to come back. And just like we're experiencing right now, we're still building from the deficit that the mental mentality, just the mentality of everyone helped to create, right? 2008 and 9 was bad. We just talked about that. I keep beating it together because I don't want anybody to forget it. But I'm talking about tomorrow and today it's better. It's better than I think it's ever been to be a home builder right now. Because you're not only building for the new family creation that's happening each and every single day, you're building for the people who were scared to death in 08, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so people buying houses right now, wish they would have bought a house 4 years ago. They're paying more for them now, but they were scared to death. They were watching the news every day, panicked. Man, you know, Chicken Little, sky's falling, everything's going crazy. So I'm kind of across the board on this because I don't have an even flow when I'm talking about diversification, because diversification, there is no easy flow. There's not an A to B. There might be an A to C, a B to D. You know, there's a mentality that you have to grasp whenever you're looking at diversifying your company. So let's move on. How to grow and prosper in a slow economy. One of the best things is the home repairs we were just talking about. You're fixing the leaks, the roof, the heating and air is falling apart, the plumbing, everything's. That is how you succeed in a slow economy. The other thing is you have a sales team that takes no for an answer. And if you're your sales team, you take no for an answer and believe that if there's a house sold, you should have sold it. I don't care how many builders there are, have that mentality. Why most business owners make the mistake of diversifying when they haven't mastered their current specialization. The one thing that has always bothered me is, why do we want to consider doing commercial if we haven't mastered residential? Or if you're in the commercial business, why do you want to do residential if you're not really good at the commercial? It's not that doing sheetrock in a commercial building is harder than managing the sheetrock install in a single-family house. It's the process. It's the companies that you use. It's the sub. It's the mentality. It's the same exact job. If you can manage a single-family house, you can manage a strip mall renovation a lot easier. I'm going to tell you that right now. People used to tell me, well, it's harder to do a build-out. No, it's not. Not for commercial. It's a lot easier than building a single family residential custom, a pretty big substantial house. Now, if you're doing a spec house and it's a house that you built before, you can flow through those pretty quick. And the workflow is part of diversification as well. Because when you expand yourself and when you get out to doing more things, workflow, management, and team become the three key players. How do you know diversification is right for you? How many people in this room feel like business is great today, but you worry about tomorrow or you worry about next year? I do. I'm going to tell you, I do right now. If you're worried at all, if you have any worry at all, and first of all, worry is something that we've got to work on because I struggle with this. I worry because I pay attention to a lot of stuff and I read a lot of stuff. But worry is a very, very substantial negative thought, and you need to get it out of your head because negative thoughts prevent you from all the positive stuff. I mean, this gets into crazy stuff. I see you nodding back there. You've heard of laws of attraction, right? I'm going to tell you something in the end that it's something you don't typically have a home builder talk about, laws of attraction, but I'm going to tell you it's the honest truth. How many people in this room have read a book, Think and Grow Rich? One. Now, this is a non-sales platform. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit and tell you to go out and buy that book. That's not my book. Think and Grow Rich was a book written by Napoleon Hill. And we're going to break from this for a minute to tell you this because I figured at least half of you guys would have read it. I've read it 10 times, and in my cell phone right now, this is how much of a believer in this, and let's see what comes up when I hit my playlist. Think and Grow Rich was written by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill was asked by Andrew Carnegie, or Carnegie, however you say his name, the steel magnate. He was asked, Andrew Carnegie said that it's a shame that people like him that has built so much wealth and knowledge die and take it with them, right? Because at that time there was really not sharing of the positive, of the tricks of the trade, so to speak, or all the advantages. Napoleon Hill started writing this book, and actually took him, I think, 35, 40 years to write it, beginning to end. So he talked to people like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, J.D. Rockefeller. All of these people contributed to this book. Everything that you'll ever want to know about business, about success, sales, and controlling your future is in that book. It is one of the single best things. I'll give you a little evolution of motivational business coaching. Well, there it is. Think and Grow Rich. The first thing that comes up on my playlist.
Truth. Get it. No matter at what cost.
I can't play it for copyright reasons, but that book, if you get it, will give you an instant advantage over everyone around you. All the people in the same industry as you. What most people would call competition, what I would call others in your industry. Think and Grow Rich was something that in 2009 when I started reading that, sort of paralleled my idea behind diversification. What I started to do was think. Remember, I just said I was a victim in 08 and 09. I was scared to death. I was watching the news. First thing I quit is watching the news. I stopped watching the news every single day. And I started paying attention to facts. Well, when I got my hands on Think and Grow Rich, that changed my ideas. It changed my life. It changed how I think about business. It changed my idea. And so diversification came because I needed to make money. I needed to stay afloat because, let's face it, I lost a lot of money in 08. I didn't lose it all, but I lost enough to hurt my ego probably for a lifetime. And I'll never put myself and my family in that position again. Think and Grow Rich will be the single most important book you ever read in your life. I've got nothing to gain by you buying it. You've got every single thing to gain by buying it. And the evolution was Napoleon Hill wrote the book. Earl Nightingale is someone else. You want to write his name down? Earl Nightingale. He was someone else that then turned a lot of that book into personal motivation. Then you had people, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn. You had guys like that sort of come. And then, of course, Tony Robbins, the master of, people call him a motivational speaker. He's not. He's a life strategist, a business strategist. So you want to think about strategy. See, I'm not here to pump you up. I'm not the biggest cheerleader in this building today. I'm not the one telling you, hey, hoorah, rah. I don't want you to leave motivated. I want you to leave smarter, because motivation dies when you hit traffic. Motivation dies when you go back home and you're back into your normal surroundings, and here you're in a group of people that want to learn, that want to improve. And let's face it, it used to happen to me. When I'd go back to my normal everyday clique, I'd start to lose that oomph. When I started learning strategies in business, that's something you don't lose. I mean, that's something that you carry with you, right? So I'm not here to be your cheerleader today. I'm here to help you get some advantages. So how a highly effective sales department will feed your company's growth. A highly effective sales department is actually key to diversification, because if you're going to put yourself out there and you're going to start expanding and spending more money in the and equipment, employees, and training, and your shop size, and I don't know how big your office is, if you work out of your house or if you work out of a warehouse or a strip mall or wherever you work out of, you're going to have a little more room. You're going to have to grow, because now we're not just managing subcontractors, we have employees. We have vans doing the service work. Maybe you have one or two guys. You might have 50, you never know. You might have 50, 60 people one day. The attitude is, how big do you want to be? A highly effective sales department feeds any company. It feeds a custom home builder. It feeds a addition company, it's a company that does just strictly home improvements is really relying on a closer, right? Because when you're in a sales department, anybody can be in sales. There's a handful of closers in any group. In a building like this, what's the percentage of closers out of the percentage of salespeople? I don't know. There's no magic number. If somebody gave you a percentage, they're probably just telling you something to sound smart. But I will tell you this, companies that I've been affiliated with, if there's 5 salespeople dedicated to selling new homes or additions or heating and air or plumbing or landscaping or roofing, probably 1% of those sales professionals are closers. Because the closer is the one that's going to ask 4 or 5 times for the sale. They're going to ask a client. They're not going to get a no and then leave and never call them back. They're going to keep calling back. There's one guy. Anybody in this room ever heard of Grant Cardone? Grant Cardone is somebody else you need to look up. This guy is a master of sales. Now he's animated. Some people don't like the way he talks sometimes. You know what? The guy's good and he's funny and he comes across. He jokes several times that he almost gets restraining orders before he gets no's. Right? So a client will just say, quit calling me, don't call me. You don't want to aggravate your clients, but what I'm saying is you don't want to give up. You don't want to give up. So a highly effective sales department is going to feed your current building business, renovation business, and if you diversify into a trades industry, it's going to keep you alive. I mean, that's all there is to it. How adding service and repair division can dramatically cut your warranty and callback ratios. One of the biggest things that I have discovered, when I went into home building, I could not believe the amount of callbacks that seem to be normal in the industry. And I call them callbacks because I came from a service background, but warranty calls, warranty repairs. I kept thinking, how many houses are being turned over? How many houses are we getting COs on and people are moving in when we knew we should have, but we're up against the schedule. People need to move in. They've got to get out of their other house. You have all of these reasons why we're pushing to get into a house. So I came up with a couple of different solutions. And one is we sent our punch guy out to a house to do a pre-move-in inspection. We had our CO, everybody's finished, everybody's cleaned up. But I wanted to go back and I wanted to check every single thing in this house. I mean everything. Crawl the attic, the crawl space, look for any issues, and if I see something that's a problem, we're not walking away. We're going to fix it. Well, a good buddy of mine who's been building for a lot longer than me told me, we're crazy. You're wasting money. I don't know what you're doing. Okay? He has houses. He builds very good houses, but he has these problems out there. And this is the difference between someone that comes from service background, someone comes from building background. He said, I only want to touch it if my phone rings. And when he told me that, I was thinking, I came from a world of fixing stuff that I wanted to fix it and leave, and I didn't want to go back unless it was a new problem. Because I didn't like callbacks. I call them callbacks, call them warranty repairs. What we implemented into our company was the culture of quality. The culture of finishing a job and never having someone ever call me back. Now, does things happen? Yes, they do. A floor squeak. How many people's had a floor squeak in their life? Well, you framed everything right. Floor squeaking, no problem. You're going to have it, but you're going to have a reduced, with adding a service department, you're going to notice you're going to reduce the amount of service calls, complaints. And of course, we're dealing with the public, so we're going to have complaints. Our job is to minimize those and make them legit. A floor squeaking is a legitimate complaint. Hearing a funny noise in a windstorm when the wind's blowing out of the north a couple of times since I've been here over a year, that's one of those, I don't know. I will try to help you, but I don't know if we can help you or not. So we're here to fix real problems. Adding a repair division, a service division to any company will help you on the quality end of things. It'll help you whenever you are trying to build the best house out there. Remember, the people around you, I don't call them competitors, but that's what we always call them. Those guys, you want to be better than everyone else. That's not saying they're bad, it's just saying you're better, and that's your attitude, making it better.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've said that several times, that adding the service division, specifically how? Because if it's a warranty request,
Mm-hmm.
As the builder, and it's a legitimate request, you have to go back and
Yep.
take care of it. The issue that we have a lot is that people think a warranty request or something that got damaged is a warranty request, and so we end up doing work for free. So what you do is you are able to separate those legitimate warranty requests from the ones that should be charged money for?
Oh, absolutely. Because if your trim carpenter or your framer goes out to look at if your framer goes out and look at a squeak or something that you have, your service technician, your service department, your service guy, the one that goes out and fixes this in older homes, they know this is a legitimate framing problem. Or if someone has just moved in this extra heavy gun safe or a giant safe into this house, wait a minute, now we have another problem. We didn't discuss that. How many people ask the question when you're selling a new house or doing a room addition, you're planning a room addition, how many people ask if you're going to have a gun safe or a personal fireproof safe or anything, or a piano? I always ask that. Getting to your question, having the service culture is up here. It's making me think when I'm selling a house, what am I going to have problems with? Am I going to have a problem with the floor squeaking? What about a floor bowing? What about a framing issue, right? You didn't build my house right. My foundation's falling apart. You have the world's heaviest piano sitting in the middle of a room in between two, pier rows, right? What's going to happen? If I'd have known you were going to put it there, guess what? I would have framed around it. Or what about the granite? What about the 12-foot by 16-foot slab of granite in the kitchen? Did you put a girder below that? If you didn't, you better, because it's going to come back to haunt you. The service mentality causes me to think, excuse me, the service mentality in me, and service meaning diversifying. I keep talking about diversifying in service. You can diversify into a lot of other things, but I'm looking at the finished product on one of our custom homes is better because I'm thinking about the what ifs. I can what if a new house to death. And you should too. You're not worrying. You're just looking for problems before they become problems, right? Because if I can fix something early on, if I know that you're going to put a gun safe in a house and I'm not reinforcing the floor system in that area, I'm not doing my job. See, I'm the professional. The buyer's not. They don't think about this. A lot of people in this room, in this building, we don't think about it. I thought about it. I wasn't born with this, oh yeah, look at me, I have this knowledge. No, I thought about it after we had a floor sagging. Why did it sag? Well, we have this giant gun safe that I don't even know how they moved it in the house. I mean, I don't even want to meet those guys, whoever moved that in, right? So, granite has been one of the biggest things. Have you ever had experienced granite pulling away from a wall or cabinet there's a gap between the backsplash and the wall increase over a new house? Have you ever had that issue where your tile guy has to go back and regrout? A lot of times what happens if you have an island, you have a row of cabinets against the outside of a house, and you have an island here, it starts to pull the floor joist down in the center, starts to pull the cabinets off of the wall. You can actually have that with this young growth lumber. Now, if you're not doing granite everywhere and your span is a lot shorter, you're probably not going to have that problem. The service side of me says I don't want to come back 6 months after they move in or a year after they come in unless we honestly have a legitimate problem. A problem to me is not something that I knew was going to happen. I just hope it didn't happen. You know, so the mentality of the service side that you get into thinking service is to prevent the problems before it happens. Let's move on because we're running out of time. I could stick on that one subject all day because I don't think you can beat it to death enough. I mean, I really don't. What diversification is not, if you looked into the average entrepreneur's head and you could put their thoughts into a picture, this would be it. Just take that in for a minute. What do you see there? Because the light's kind of bad. Washer, dryer, water heater, part of a truck. We think about diversification as we want to do a lot. Remember, a home builder doing tanning salons or baking donuts or whatever you want to do. Let's keep it simple. Let's diversify in our own trade, right? Let's think about in the construction line. What is diversification? Well, we've talked about service. Diversification is also a home builder doing commercial work, a commercial guy doing new homes. It is not two individual markets that can never be merged. It makes sense. To me, it does. Because we're about growing our company. We're not going to stay the same. It could be landscaping. Now, we're not talking cutting grass. We're talking, depends on the price of the house. If you're doing a spec home, entry-level home, you're not getting into the grandiose landscaping projects. But when we're talking pavers and stone, there's a new stone product that's out here on the expo floor. I just saw them last night. I think the company's ACR or something like that. It's this composite stone. Think about that. If you have people that can build that, that's unique enough that who are you going to call? Your stonemason to do it? He can do it. Your tile guy could probably do it. Or you could have people in your service division that can do it themselves. Diversifying is about keeping every client that you have happy. It's about building the client rapport. It's about offering more service to your existing clients. You know, it's hard to get a new client. Well, when we get a client, why don't we service that client in all aspects? If you're building them a new home and they move in it and the in-laws need to move in 2 years later, you want to be the guy that does the addition. Now, if you had problems, that the floor was sagging, you've had grout, you've had squeaks, you've had everything in the world, they're probably not going to call you. There's also a lot of people that love you. They're great. You've done a great job. They just didn't think of you when they thought addition. Well, they thought of you for building a new home, but they just didn't relate, and you would not believe the people that don't connect the dots. They don't think of calling you for these repairs or it's what you want to promote. You want to promote the fact that you're there. You didn't just build them the house and you're leaving. You want to come back. You want to be their contractor for life. You want to be the person that takes care of that house. And if they move into another house in the area, you want to be the guy that they call for that or the gal. How you should think of diversification. You know, all these marbles here, they're probably the exact same size, I would imagine. But there's different colors. Just about every one of them's a different color. A few the same. Diversification is it's changing what we do in a company, but it's adding to what we do. You're not getting out of your universe. I mean, you're building houses, you're renovating kitchens, you're moving on. You're not doing things that are just totally crazy. The definition of diversification: the action of making or becoming more diverse or varied. That's what we've been talking about all day. Think about your clients, think about growing with your existing clients, and think about doing more for your existing. Don't lose your vision. How many people have a great company right now? They lose their vision two ways. One way is if all we're going to do is build custom homes and that's what we're going to do, we lose our vision because we get busy, right? We get complacent. We're trying to build more houses, do the same quality of work. Quality of work slows down. You lost a good contractor that was really good to your company. Whatever the case may be, you can take your eye off the ball for 1 minute in this business and you can lose a ton of credibility, you can lose a ton of time and a whole lot of cash. You've got to keep your vision in what you're doing. If you're going to diversify, this gets back to somebody diversifying their company when they haven't mastered what they do to begin with. If we're going to diversify, don't forget what got you there. Don't forget your core business. If you're a good quality home builder now and you get into doing service repairs, don't make service repairs your only focus and then forget about the sales side, forget about the new homes, forget your don't forget your purpose and what got you there. Losing your vision is probably one of the worst things that can ever happen. And that's why does a successful company fail? Why does football teams go and come, right? Yeah, your football team's great for a couple of years and then they crash and burn. Well, they lose people. People get older, they get hurt, and so competitive. Well, a company is not. I don't think anything is equivalent to a sales, a sports team, because your mentality, your idea needs to stay the same. Your focus needs to stay the same. The biggest thing in the world is the economy changes, and the economy changes around you. Change your paradigm. You know about paradigms. The definition of a paradigm is basically, for the simple term, it's a pattern, right? Now, this is where diversification ends, and this is where self-strategies begin with me. In anything that I do in life, whether it's home building, service, repairs, it's meeting a new neighbor, it's a hobby that I'm getting, your paradigm is basically a series of habits. It's who you talk to, what you talk about, and who you hang around. Paradigm shifts is what makes you go from 5 houses a year to 50. It's what makes you go from 50 to becoming a massive home builder. It's what takes a person that built one house in their life and now is a publicly traded home building company. Someone changed what's around them. They changed their daily life. Every day they get out of bed, the same foot hits the bed at the same time, and they put on their pants the same way, they wash the same way, they talk to the same people, pet the cat, drink the coffee. Every single thing is different. People that drive to their office the exact same route at the exact same time. You need to change your route. You need to go the long way once in a while. You need to get up earlier. One thing that I tell everyone is a change in your paradigm right now is if you wake up in a house and you have wife and kids or husband, and if you live alone, you have a cat, I don't care what the scenario is. I get up early. I get up between 3:30 and 4 o'clock every single day. And you know why? You're shaking your head no. Let me tell you what happens. When I get up that early, when you first wake up, your brain is the sharpest that it'll be all day. You think about things differently than you do when you're exhausted and when you go to work and you start hitting the questions hitting you and you turn on the radio and you start hearing the news. Your brain starts to clutter quickly during the day. You'll be your most creative thinking about diversification or anything else, or how do I sell more houses? You'll be your most creative early in the morning. Now, if you wake up at 6, you need to be at work at 7, there's not a lot of time in there to get creative. I mean, you can be if you're driving to work thinking, and you're doing these things called incantations, where you're saying to yourself every single day, I'm going to sell more houses, I'm going to do better. Yeah, if somebody looking at you at the stoplight, maybe they're hoping you're singing, right? Because if you're talking to yourself, this guy's nuts, right? But when you're saying these things, when you're waking up early, when you change your habits in your life, you change the results in your life. Changing your paradigm is something that is shifts that's happened for me. As I was listening to a motivational guy and he's talking about just motivation, someone's just strategy. I don't want motivation, I want strategy. I want people to tell me, how do I go from A to B, right? How do I sell 5 houses a year and then I go to 10? How do I build 50? My goal, I want to build 500 houses a year. That's my goal. That's it. Now, if I do 600, I'd be pretty daggone happy. But my goal right now is 500 houses a year. Are we going to do it? Yes, we are. Why not? I'm my own limitation. I'm the one that will say, well, I can't because. And now I spend the next hour telling you all the reasons I can't. I didn't spend 1 minute telling you why I can. Right? I can because I believe I can. I can because there's going to be 500 houses sold in the southeastern part of the United States, probably in 2-3 weeks? Why can't I do that in a year? Why can't I do that in 5 years? So my own mentality, when I start listening to people around me tell me, well, you can't, here's why. I need to change my paradigm. My paradigm means I need to get away from the negative thinkers. I need to get rid of, now you want balance in your life. Not everything is rosy and sunshine. But the words that you use and how you think and what you talk about, if you talk about negative stuff all the time, you're going to get negative stuff in your life. That's it. That's what we're talking about, laws of attraction right there. Laws of attraction is pretty unique. And this is all stuff I want you guys to just Google, go to YouTube. There's tons of videos for free that you can read on this. How you listen, how you associate, and what you talk about changes the results of your day-to-day business. Why are some people successful and some aren't, right? Is it because they came from a different gene pool, or they grew up in a certain neighborhood, or they eat a certain diet? It's because they associate with people who think like them, or they associate like people like they want to think like. Like if I had my preference right now, I would hang out with Grant Cardone, right? I would hang out with Bill Gates. That's who I'd want to have a mastermind with. The mastermind has been the most important thing that's helped me over my life, is associating with 10 other people who come from different trades that are all successful. Might be a lawyer, might be a plumber, might be a home builder, might be a boat salesman. But people who are successful in their industry, when you start associating with groups of people, you start attracting their success. You start attracting the results that they've gotten. Why are all the super successful, super rich, why are they all friends? Because they all have money? No, because they think alike. They're all going in the same direction. As a home propelled him through the fight that he had to be able to call his car an automobile, because that was considered a trademark term. Most of us in this room, if we hit a big obstacle like that, we're going to quit. I'm trying to sell a TV show. The TV show, 3 different TV shows, actually 3 different ideas. We just want one of them to stick, but we get into why you can't, why it won't work. Here's the problem. I don't want to hear any of that. I want our ideas in our company to come out and be put on TV every day. My job is to help promote the trades industry. My job is to help grow businesses, help companies to expand, to keep you out of this rut that you're in, because we're building houses, we're doing great. And a lot of you have great businesses. You're not here because business is bad. You're here because business is good. You're able to take the day off and come here, but you want to learn more. And I'm here to help promote that idea. And a TV show is one of the best ways I can think about doing it, right? Understanding sales is everything. See how much more time I have here. We have 5 more minutes, and we're going to be able to bang this out here, because I want this to be the biggest thing that you take away today. In whatever you do, however you expand, whether you diversify or not, this is the life of a company. The ability to sell in any economy. The idea of sales is you're able to convince people to give up, depart from their money, to give their money away in any economy, because they need something to improve their life. People will give you hundreds of thousands of dollars so that you are able to help make their dreams come true. When we're selling a house, when we're consulting in the beginning, we have a wants and a needs list. My job is to make both lists come together. That's my job, is to make sure that our sales team, that anybody I associate with, keeps that mentality that we're here to build you what you need, but we're also here to build you what you're dreaming about. The ability of a sales team to sell in any economy is critical, because anybody can sell a house right now, right? I mean, I think anybody can sell a house right now the way the economy is. Can anybody sell a house in 2009? If you asked me in 2009, I'd have told you no. I'd have told you you're crazy for even considering the idea that I could sell you a house. Well, the problem, there was other homes being built. There was other homes being sold. It just wasn't me. I was listening to the same people say, well, it's bad, it's worse than I've ever seen, but they're the ones selling the houses. You know why? Because they had this mastermind of people. They had this mentality that they could do whatever they wanted to do. Their mentality wasn't of limitations. It wasn't because they watched the news and instantly got depressed. They'd go home and see the news and turn it off. And they're still thinking the way they did all day long. Market and grow on social media. The biggest way right now to get your image, to get your name out, is be on social media. Getting attention right now in your space. Your space may be, you're a renovation contractor. Your space may be that you build just new custom homes. I don't care whatever it is that you're doing right now, you want to become a leader in your area, in your market. If you don't want to grow all over the country, that's great. Grow right in your hometown. Grow where you're from. You want people to think, when they think about, well, I've got this complicated house on a build. It's a crazy lot. There's going to be problems. There's going to be the issues. You want your name to come up in that conversation because you never gave up. I was a builder for Extreme Makeover for 2 builds. The TV show where we had to build a 4,300 square foot house in 4.5 days. One of the things that helped do for me was get me attention, right? I got a little bit of media attention for it, but I also got the reputation for, well, if it's complicated and kind of jacked up and you need to do it in a hurry, call me, we can do it. Well, just because I did it twice in my life doesn't mean I want to do it a third time, but I would. If you'd asked me the day after the second Extreme Makeover in Virginia Beach, would you do it again? The day we finished, I'd have said no. The next day, I'd have said yes. Because my desire to improve, my desire to help people is very big. Becoming the products and the service that you offer, you want people to know that you know what you're talking about. They want to go to you. Local media, news media, when they're doing a story on home building or home improvements or what happens to a house during a storm, who are they going to call? They're going to call someone that's top of mind. They're going to call someone they've met. They're going to call someone they've interacted with on social media. That's their expert. Selling solutions, not a price. And unfortunately, we're going to have to go in just a minute. Right here, when you deal with sales, selling solutions and not a price. You should never walk in front of the AV, but I do it because I want to make sure that is critical. You are selling solutions to people's problems. That's why a lot of people will pull cash out of their pocket and give it to you. They have a problem, they need it to go away. Here's money, make it go away. You want to be the person, guy, gal, company, you want to be the person that they call. Why are they going to call you? Because you're getting the local attention, social media. You know, you can blow your own social media up. You don't have to hire an expert. You can do it yourself. You need to tweet, you need to post on Facebook. Whatever social media platform, you need to do it 5-10 times a day, and you can schedule this stuff. I know it's hard. You've got a house to build. You got everything in the world going on. Now I got 5 more things I got to do. If you don't do anything else in a day, start becoming socially correct. Getting your name out there on social media and becoming the person that, now you're going to have haters. People are going to say, God, all he ever does is talk about how good they are, what they do. You know, who cares? Do you want to associate, what do they have going for them? Maybe little or nothing? No, I think the evolution of becoming popular in your area, if you're going to have people that hate you, then people that are jealous of you, and then people that want to emulate you, right? So just go forward. You want to make sure your name's out there. Selling solutions, not a price, is going to come because people know who you are. You're not living in obscurity anymore. In a day and age of social media, we don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars in print ads. You can be right here on social media. You can do pay-per-click, which is kind of playing out. Right now, the best way to get attention on social media is video. Take a short video of you and your guys, or you working, or your houses. Little short videos, here's what we're doing today. Just make sure you don't have a guy on a ladder, on a roof, no fall protection, no hard hat. Just make sure you don't do any of that, right? So watch what you're posting. And I say that jokingly, but I would imagine that a lot of people pay attention to social media sites, and when they see your very cool picture of everybody kind of hanging out on the pitch of a roof and, you know, no fall protection, no hard hats, right? Or doing something crazy with a piece of equipment in a funny video, don't do that. You want to do the stuff that's innocent, not going to get anybody in trouble. But becoming the expert in your area doesn't happen when you're living in obscurity. It happens because people know who you are. When they know who you are, they talk about you. When they talk about you, they buy from you. When they buy from you, you're able to supply your diversification. Everything that we're doing with our business, if we're growing our business, we're expanding our business, you need people talking about you. You need people saying, well, you know, he's been building houses for 10 years. Now guess what? Now they're doing home repairs. They're doing the home service division. Really? What is that? How many people think it's HVAC, it's plumbing? No, you get licensed, like in my area, you've got to be a mechanical contractor or plumber, licensed electrician. That's as hard as hiring a licensed plumber. You know how many people that work for themselves that don't want to work for themselves? I do. I love working for myself, but I can tell you I know a lot of people who are great at what they do, but they're tired. They're tired, they call it the hustle and the bustle because they've never associated with anybody that thinks positive. They've always associated with people that think about problems. Every single day, poor pitiful me, I got these problems. Look at me, I got the biggest problem. When you hang around that person, you do feel like you live in a hustle and a bustle. So, wrapping it up for today, diversification is, maybe diversification for you is if you're in Charlotte or you're somewhere west of here, who lives in the mountains? You live in the mountains. A lot of people from the mountains. What if you want to go to Nag's Head and build a house? You think you can do it? Diversifying might be you diversify your market. Might not be diversifying the service. Might not be diversifying to another industry. It might be diversify your location. Diversification is about changing what you do now and adding to, expanding, and growing. I hope you've enjoyed today. If you want to catch up with me, you can go to duanecotton.com.